Today was day 9 of Green Bay Packers training camp, a little bit of a lighter practice and kind of a ramp-up period ahead of family night on Saturday. The Packers are, of course, off practice tomorrow, but nonetheless, I have highlights to react to and break down, as well as go over all the key takeaways and notes and everything that happened in today's practice. I'd highly suggest going down and clicking that subscribe button if you do happen to be a new viewer to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers through training camp this offseason. You'll find it all here on this channel, including exclusive 11v11 and 1v1 highlights that you won't find anywhere else from Packers camp. And that includes today's video. We have 5 really awesome 1v1 highlight clips from yesterday's practice nonetheless, but still really awesome clips to go over, so stay tuned. The NFL season is officially upon us with the Hall of Fame game tonight, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook this season, BetUS has you covered. BetUS is offering new users a 125% deposit match up to $2,000 with my custom link down in the description below. BetUS offers a fast and easy withdrawal and deposit process that's very seamless, as well as 24/7 customer support that goes around the clock 365 days a year. I wanted to quickly show you guys all the bets that you can make on BetUS and all the lines that are available, because the options truly are endless. You can bet on season stat leaders such as sacks, passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, NFL season awards such as defensive or offensive rookie, MVP, coach of the year. Again, the options are endless on BetUS, and this is in August. This is just in August, and there's so many things that you can take a look at when the games come around. They have so many different player props as well. I'm actually going to place a bet myself. Jordan Love to lead the league in touchdown passes at season's end, and that's all the way at 1,600, plus 1,600. So if we were to place a $50 bet, that could win $800. I'm going to go ahead and place this bet. You could tail mine or check out all the other options here on BetUS. Of course, get that 125% deposit match with my custom link down in the description. Again, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this video. All right, so now let's dive into the highlight clips I have from today's practice, the warm-up clips. Sadly, didn't get any 11v11 clips, but again, stay tuned for the awesome 1v1 clips I have right after this. In this first clip, we have, I think it's Tay Wicks on the bottom of the screen and Romeo Doubs on the top. Doubs catching an in-breaking route from Jordan Love, and then on the bottom, Tay Wicks, a quick hitch catch by thrown by Sean Clifford, excuse me. Romeo Doubs has been the hot topic this past week. Like, he's had a great week of practice, but today it was Tay Wicks who was kind of the spotlighted wide receiver, or the receiver that had the best day of practice. I mean, he absolutely went off in red zone period. We'll talk about that later when we go over the takeaways, but both of these receivers with awesome weeks of practice. Here's a clip of the other 2 wide receivers in terms of the top 4, Christian Watson and Jayden Reed. You see Michael Pratt throwing a quick slant/drag to Jayden Reed. And then at the top, you see Jordan Love throwing a ball to Christian Watson, who kind of runs into it. Coach Jordan Love probably had his best throw of all of camp today to Christian Watson, which we'll go over in the takeaways. It was a very, very impressive throw. Here's a clip of rookie running back Marshawn Lloyd catching a swing pass in his second day of padded practice. It was definitely his best day of practice. Yesterday was his first day and kind of a little bit rusty. Had a couple mistakes yesterday, but today was definitely his best practice. It included a 50-yard touchdown run. It's hard to gauge running backs in training camp because there's not really live tackling, but it truly would have been a 50-yard touchdown run. This guy pretty much went untouched. Great burst. He also had a nice couple catches in today's practice. Just a nice day overall for Marshawn Lloyd. All right, so now let's dive into the 1v1 clips I have from yesterday. I have 5 of them, and a massive shout out to Chase for sending me these videos, allowing me to share them with you guys on this channel, because we heard a lot about these 1v1s, especially the one you're about to see, Jaire Alexander versus Romeo Doubs. You see at the top of the screen here, and I didn't get the first rep where supposedly Doubs toasted Jaire on, I believe, a slant route or something of that sort, but I did get the one where Doubs had a diving catch, where a lot of reporters are kind of making it seem like Jaire was getting beat early and often, where it's not really the case, and I'll show you why. So let's let this clip play. You'll see Doubs with kind of a, fake post to an out route here at the top of the route, and why I think this is good coverage by Jaire is traditionally a receiver's not going to have this amount of time to complete his route, and the quarterback's not going to have this amount of time to complete this throw. Sure, on some play action plays or some scramble drills he may, and This has happened in a live situation. Romeo Doubs versus the Dallas Cowboys had a similar double move type of route that got him really open against Stephon Gilmore. But this is great coverage by Jair, guys. I think he does enough hand fighting, and Doubs maybe even got away with a little bit of a push off there at the top of the route while swiping underneath. Nonetheless, I'm not taking credit away from Doubs. This is a wonderfully ran route, selling inside, really faking on that inside breaking route, moving his head, and then doing a nice job swiping underneath and using his hands, and then of course the dive and catch to secure that, bring it into his body and kind of roll onto his back so that ball doesn't hit the ground. Very, very impressive catch by Romeo Doubs, but Jair is fine, guys. Like I said in yesterday's video, 1v1s are made to favor the wide receivers. Like 80% of the time, they should win. This is great coverage by Jair, so I'm not worried about it. Jair also had a great day of practice today, stopping the offense short on the 1 yard line on 4th and goal during red zones period. So this is a great rep by both players, honestly. I think both players kind of won this rep, in my opinion, so it's great to see because this has been a massive matchup in 1v1s this camp so far. Next, we have a couple reps of Jayden Reed versus Keyshawn Nixon. On this one, it's going to be a simple 9 route from Jayden Reed with the outside release kind of out of the slot, just toasting Keyshawn Nixon down the sideline for a probably would-be touchdown. So this was yesterday's practice, and this is the second time from yesterday's practice we have a clip of Keyshawn Nixon getting toasted on a simple 9 route. First, we saw Christian Watson when Nixon was on the outside, and then here, Keyshawn Nixon out of the slot. Generally, you don't want Nixon man-to-man press coverage on a receiver running a 9. It seems like he gets beat a lot. He gets too handsy at the line of scrimmage, and then the receiver can simply put a move on him, get to the outside, and get upfield, and then use their pure speed to get by him. So not a great rep by Keyshawn Nixon, very fluid by Jayden Reed, and nonetheless a great pass, an absolute dime by Jordan Love right in the breadbasket, in stride. Jayden Reed really didn't have to slow up at all, just completely in stride. Great throw by Jordan Love. We're going to see a lot of this, a little slot fade action from Jayden Reed in 2024. Here's another clip, Jayden Reed versus Keyshawn Nixon in the slot, and it's going to be a perfectly ran zig route, and it looks bad at first on Keyshawn Nixon, but I do want to give him credit for rebounding after kind of falling down, getting up, and probably making a tackle there. Maybe Jayden Reed slips out of that. He's really good with the ball in his hands, after the catch, creating yards, but Nixon, I think, would tackle him there in a live session. But if you want to teach anyone at any level of football how to run a zig route, show them this clip because it is absolutely perfect. First off, with the release, a little bit of a stutter outside, taking Nixon off his platform. I think he's inside shade, so you want to threaten outside to kind of take Nixon off his inside platform a tiny bit because he wants to stop inside routes. Doing that then really sells the slant route underneath. Jayden Reed puts 2 to 3 hard steps on the slant, even turns his head back to the quarterback. That's when he breaks back to the outside on this zig route. It is absolutely by the book. This is a joy to watch because Jayden Reed is just an artist when it comes to route running. A lot of these wide receivers in this room are very similar. Jayden Reed, Tay Wicks, Romeo Doubs, they're all artists when it comes to route running. And that is definitely the case here with Jayden Reed. Just a perfectly ran zig route. Could have been thrown a hair quicker right on that break, and I think he would have gotten to the outside and untouched from Keyshawn Nixon. Nonetheless, just a great route, man. So fluid, so quick with his feet, no wasted steps. And speaking of fluid with route running, here is Tay Wicks running a slant route on Robert Rochelle. Again, another textbook slant route against press man on how you should play this. You should attack the outside hip of the cornerback, threaten vertical, take him off his platform as you see Robert Rochelle kind of reaching to the outside there, flipping his hips to the left side, and that allows Tay Wicks to swipe underneath, come underneath, get the separation, use his body to shield against Robert Rochelle, and snag the ball in an easy slant route. Even a ball that was a little high into the left shoulder of him, able to snag that, bring that down to his body, not allow the cornerback to get a hand in there to knock it away. Again, textbook slant route. The zig and the slant route, if you want to teach them, show them both of these clips because it's absolutely textbook. The release, the hand fighting, getting the separation, swiping underneath. It's all by the book. Tay Wicks, man, and Jayden Reed, just awesome. Here's a very impressive route by tight end Ben Sims. Tight end 3 or 4, however you want to look at him, against Javon Bullard. And honestly, this is another one where I think it's a win for both players. This is just a perfectly thrown ball. I think Javon Bullard could have made a little bit more of an effort kind of getting his hand in the way of that pass. But nonetheless, I think he does a perfect job of holding on just enough, but not too much. If he tugged on that jersey at the top of that route right there, it would have definitely been called for defensive holding. Nonetheless, it was a catch, but Javon Bullard's going to be tasked with covering tight ends a ton this season, and a lot of which are more athletic, receiving threat type of tight ends than Ben Sims. So it's a good rep here to get this type of rep in practice. Javon Bullard against a tight end. I'm glad that they're, doing this, and it's a great rep by Ben Sims, and more so, just a great pass where only the receiver or tight end's going to get it. Nice job using his body to shield away Javon Bullard, and the Packers tight end room guys, even, Tyler Davis, Ben Sims, they've all been looking very, very good in training camp, and I can't wait for Tucker Kraft to come back. Nice rep by Sims here. All right, so those are all the clips I have from today's practice, as well as the 1v1s from yesterday's practice. Again, unfortunately, couldn't get any 11v11s during today's practice, but it was kind of lighter with a lot of veterans taking rest days. So that moves me into my next point. Let's go over the main takeaways and notes from today's practice, including the players that had veteran rest days. It was Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Elton Jenkins, and Tyler Davis. Kind of the odd man out there. Not saying he doesn't deserve a rest day, I guess, because he has been getting a ton of snaps with the first team offense, but the other guys are like, solidified starter, star type of veterans, and then Tyler Davis also with a rest day. In terms of players out with injuries, couple added new to the list. Josh Jacobs with a groin injury, hoping that's nothing severe and it's just precautionary. Edgerrin Cooper with the hip injury. He dropped out of practice yesterday, didn't return, so hopefully that's nothing long-term. Valentine still out with the hamstring injury. That seems a little bit more severe than light than we thought. Matt LaFleur basically said they're going to be very cautious with Valentine, and it maybe doesn't seem like he's going to return soon, maybe a couple week type of thing. And the Packers just continue to get riddled with hamstring injuries. Don Callis, also a hamstring injury. Not that that one's as important, but still, nonetheless, a hamstring injury. Josh Myers was out today with a personal issue. He was out a couple days of practice, I think earlier this week or late last week with personal issues, so hopefully everything's all good there. And players still out: Keyshawn Banks, Deslin Alexander, Tucker Kraft, and Donovan Jennings. Quickly go over the starters on offense and defense. During team portions and offensive line, Sans, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, and Zach Tom was as follows: Rasheed Walker, Royce Newman, Sean Ryan at center, Jordan Morgan right guard, and Andre Dillard right tackle. Let's just hope the offensive line never has to get to that point, because then things will not look good. Jacob Monk also saw some snaps at center number 1 with Josh Myers out and Elton Jenkins out, but he did start with a fumbled exchange with Jordan Love. Definitely something that has to be cleaned up. As for the defense and their starters, without Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, the defensive line obviously looked different. J.J. Nigbare, T.J. Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness. Kind of how you would expect it to look with those 3 guys out. We also saw Colby Wooden get some snaps with the defensive ends today, which is very interesting. Early downs versus the run, definitely an option there at defensive end. Linebackers, corners, the same as follows, the same as it's always been: Walker and McDuffie, Jair Stokes and Nixon at corner, and then the safeties were McKinney and Javon Bullard. So continuing to rotate that safety number 2 around, as it probably will remain all of camp and preseason. As for the offensive notes, as I said, it was a great day of practice for rookie running back Marshawn Lloyd, including his first big run of camp, a 50-yard touchdown run. Also had a nice catch over the middle from Sean Clifford. Overall, just a good day for Marshawn Lloyd. And as I stated earlier, Jordan Love probably had his best throw of all of camp, threading the needle down the seam to Christian Watson, right in between both safeties in a cover 2. It was an amazing throw. I wish we had a clip of it. Sadly, we do not. But Jordan Love to Christian Watson, that has been a strong connection, although there's been a couple videos of Watson not performing too well. There's a lot more that, he is connecting strong with Jordan Love. A lot of these receivers are. Emmanuel Wilson also had yet another big run. This guy's been making the most out of his opportunities. It seems like at least every day of practice, there's one big run by Emmanuel Wilson. And Tay Wicks, man, definitely the receiver of the day, continues to be a favorite target for Jordan Love in red zone periods or 2-minute drills. A lot of catches today for Tay Wicks, including the first 2 to start the 2-minute period. Had an amazing catch on the sideline for Eric Stokes. Wicks, another clip I wish we had, but we don't. But it was just a perfectly placed ball and a very impressive catch. Wicks over Stokes. It was great coverage, but just Wicks comes down with it. He also drew defensive pass interference on 4th and 1 on Keyshawn Nixon in the back of the end zone to extend that drive a little bit further, but that drive was then halted on another 4th and 1. Jair hitting Tay Wicks just short of the goal line. It ended up in almost a scuffle. Wicks wasn't happy with how Jair hit him, kind of was mouthing off a little bit, started walking towards Jair, and Jayden Reed held him back. So I love the competition. I love the fire from both of those guys, as long as it doesn't end in a scuffle, which it didn't, thanks to Jayden Reed. The only note I have for the second team is they went 4 and out in the 2-minute drill. As for the defensive notes I have, TJ Slayton makes another splash play early on in team sessions. That's kind of happened like 3 days in a row now, where like the first or second play, TJ Slayton's just directly in the backfield for a tackle for a loss on the running back. Matt LaFleur praised TJ Slayton a ton this morning, saying he definitely has taken the next step. Carl Brooks had another would-be sack today. He's been heating up this week, and this is the 3rd day in a row that Lucas Van Ness has had a would-be sack. It's just been a great week for LVN this week. Same with Isaiah McDuffie. He's been great all camp, had yet another stop for a loss on a running play today. He's been good, really good against the run, that is. And then also Tyler Coyle, a name we really haven't heard much of in camp, had a pick 6 today on Jacob Eason. Yes, it's in the 3rd or 4th team, whatever it may be, but still nonetheless a nice play by the safety Coyle. Then to wrap things up, going over the special team notes I have, they didn't kick yesterday, but they did today. And it was Anders Carlson's first bad day of practice with multiple misses. But he's still 25 of 31 the entirety of camp. But Greg Joseph definitely got a little bit of a lead on him today, as he kicked perfectly today and now is 29 of 31. So Anders is 25 of 31 and Joseph is 29 of 31. But that does it for all the highlights, 1v1 clips I have from today's and yesterday's practice, as well as all the key takeaways and notes from today's practice. I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports the channel a ton and is absolutely free to do. Appreciate you guys coming by. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.